We're back with yet another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some straight-up gameplay and how we're feeling on the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, your tour guide, Jake Baldino, and today we're talking about Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. There's a lot of hype for this one, at least for me. It's got a lot to live up to. Kicking off right after the events of the first game, you awake from a 5-month coma near paralyzed. The Nazis are still reigning supreme in this alternate history where they won World War II, and you're once again sick badass BJ Blazkowicz, and it's time for you to kill everything again. That's it. It's a pretty simple premise. It gets way more complicated, but the game starts off with like a hell of a bang, a pretty long intro that's actually compelling and shocking as hell. It does not mess around at all. Then it dumps you right into just killing everything. I got stuck playing with a controller, but I've always said this is definitely a PC gamer's game. Gameplay is like such a satisfying mix of stealth and guns blazing action, and the game really caters to however you really want to play. Even dual-wielding guns blazing presents an immense challenge. Wolfenstein requires you to be bold and brash while also accurate and fast. It's a demanding, intense game that feels good when you line up dudes in a hallway and blast them with like dual tri-barrel shotguns. And it feels just as good though when you creep around and take out a commander before he calls in reinforcements. To prevent that, you have to rip off his legs and stab him in the face. It's not the most subtle stealth, but it's satisfying. And those finishers, combined with the new Nazi hand axe you use, are always really fun to watch and pull off. The game itself is just pretty quick and simple, as like swapping weapons and managing dual weapons is used via like an okay weapon wheel if you're using a controller, but leaning, crouching, sprinting, and sliding all work well with these newer abilities that you have with the power suit thing, including the ability to jump and stomp down onto stuff, stilts, and even a useful ability to charge forward like a freight train and ram stuff. What makes it all feel really satisfying is some revamped gore systems that I picked up on. The game is immensely gory, but they take it to the next level here. Like putting bullets into dudes feels like a bit weightier this time, and more individual limbs can get bloodied or blasted off in like a honestly impressive fashion. Progression is fun too, as the more you do, the more you level it up, like getting headshots, slide kills, or creative kills with electricity traps. They make for these fun little mini goals to achieve in what's otherwise, pretty simple progression. But the weapon upgrade system is also simple, but with just enough decisions to sort of gear your weapons towards your playstyle. Do you go guns blazing, or do you take cover and aim down the sights more? The game doesn't judge you however you want to play, it just makes your life a living hell regardless with the difficulty. But the gameplay is good, satisfying, gory, fun, but surprisingly, you're going to be playing this one for the story. This is a narrative-driven game, and one that I absolutely recommend playing the previous game first. You gotta play the New Order. One, because it's really damn good, but two, because it kicks in with a lot of the same characters here. The game starts with like a previously on type video, but it really does a shitty job of getting you up to speed. So play the first one, please. You won't regret it. But again, like I said, this is a game that you play for the story just as much as you do for all the killing, and once again, Machine Games kind of nails it here. This is probably the biggest jump for the sequel, just how all in they go with the story. Like the New Order, they find such like an impressive line between over-the-top video game action movie dumbness and bleak, realistic, almost poetic seriousness. While BJ loves blowing shit up and killing Nazis, he also has some deep, grim, dark monologues in his head that still work so well. I think the game plays it a bit more serious than the New Order did, but overall, I think the tone is still very excellent. It walks that tightrope between serious and goofy so well. It understands it's a video game, most importantly. It doesn't completely try to be a movie. It understands how absurd everything is, but still gets the point across very well. And you have a good lineup of colorful and weird characters that have good, convincing, and real relationships, especially the continued romance from the first game. It's awesome. You get plenty of downtime to like walk around, read notes, journals, find these Easter eggs about the world, and see weird, goofy side stories with your friend characters in this stolen Nazi submarine you guys kind of use as a base. But not only that, the game also has some damn good villain stuff, notably Frau Engel, who really gets her time to shine here. She comes off kind of iconic and kind of big, like a big deal, like how Voss was in Far Cry, where they point the camera at her and let her just ham it up and do her thing, and it's very fun to watch. But the real kicker here is America itself is one of the main stars, and seeing in subtle ways how the population succumbs and almost embraces the ruling Nazis is very weird and really freaking interesting. The heroes of Wolfenstein 2 aren't just trying to save the world from Nazis, they're trying to reignite the American spirit, which is cool. Also of note, since America is one of the stars here, you spend plenty of time in like submarines and underground laboratories and bases, some of it a little generic, but thankfully they're punctuated by drastically different and very interesting American settings, from small town Americana in Roswell, New Mexico, a nuclear disaster site in what's left of New York, and a couple of other places I don't want to spoil. It's a lengthy campaign with 2 directions you can sort of head in with a decision, and there are multiple difficulty modes that at most will push you very much. And I think it's admirable. This is 2017. There's no multiplayer. There is no filler. This is a single-player ass game for a player who likes good story and fun action. If you meet any of that criteria, I definitely say you should go for this game. It's challenging, it's entertaining, and it does its job. There's a lull 3/4 of the way in terms of pacing, but that's really one of the only big problems I had with the game. It's a satisfying adventure. But this is how Before You Buy works. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion, and now I definitely want to hear yours down in the comments. Let's talk about this. If you got your hands on the game early like I did and you have been playing it, let me know what you think. Or if you're on the outside looking in and you haven't played this or the previous game, how you feeling? What's your favorite weapon combination? Do you like some of the new weapons they added, like the diesel-powered grenade launcher thing? Let's talk about anything Wolfenstein 2 down in the comments. I'll be down there talking to you guys as much as I possibly can, but if you got anything else for me, hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino as well. But you guys know the deal. Clicking the like button does help us out over here, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you should, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Take this! Wyatt came up with a basic concept. The design is not it's experimental, but it will be very useful.
Does this end kill Nazis?
Enthusiastically so.
I'm sure it will.
I will open this when you are done, big man.